My nephew is allergic to oranges. Although it's a mild allergy, there's still a risk of anaphylactic shock. I didn't want the older generation in the family to have to bury the younger, so I tried to stop my brother and sister-in-law, but they thought I was meddling in their business. They ruined my reputation outside. They made me the notorious figure in the neighborhood. They fed my nephew a lot of oranges, deliberately trying to prove something to me. That night, he went into anaphylactic shock and couldn't be saved. Then they blamed me, saying I had cursed my nephew to death. My sister-in-law went crazy and stabbed me with a knife. My brother took all my savings and even arranged a ghost marriage for me. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to a time before everything began. At 1001 hashtag, as the spring festival approaches, citrus fruits hit the market. My sister-in-law's mother bought a large basket of sugar oranges and sent them over. My nephew is only 5 years old and has a sweet tooth. When his grandma brought the oranges, he ate 6 in one go and immediately showed symptoms. My sister-in-law thought her son was just tired from playing, but I felt something was off. I insisted on taking my nephew to the hospital. The doctor diagnosed a mild allergy to oranges and advised avoiding such allergens in the future. I nodded and told my sister-in-law about it, but she thought I had ill intentions and was cursing her son to die. Although I am angry, he is my own nephew. I couldn't just stand by and watch him die, so I insisted repeatedly. Little did I expect it would end with me being married off in a ghost marriage. As the old saying goes, don't easily interfere in others' fates. It will shorten your life. Indeed, in my previous life, I worked hard for several years in my 20s, only for my brother to take it all away. I saw my nephew's little hand reaching for an orange, holding it up for me to peel, but I didn't dare. Under his parents' subtle influence, this child lacks the respect he should have for me. When the gossipy neighbors asked him, "How does your aunt treat you?" my nephew said, "Bad. Auntie doesn't give me food, and she took grandma's money, and mom's gold." They say children don't lie. I think children are the best at lying. They don't even bat an eye. At most, they won't hide it, but the innocence of children often makes adults overlook the truth. At 1001 hashtag, I saw my nephew running towards me, calling out in a sweet, childish voice, "Auntie, peel the orange." I put away my phone, deliberately pretended not to hear, got up from the sofa, and called out, "Mom, let me help you cook." I went into the kitchen and ignored my little nephew, so he ran to his mother to complain, crying and wiping his eyes with his little hand while still holding a sugar tangerine in the other. "Wah, Mommy, Auntie." Auntie ignored me and won't peel the tangerine for me. My sister-in-law is not a child. In the past, for the sake of family harmony, I would give my nephew whatever he wanted. Almost all the toys in the house were bought by me for him, not to mention peeling tangerines, even if he wet his pants at his age. As long as he came to me, I would help him change. Today, I didn't help him peel the tangerine, so he got upset and complained to his mother. My sister-in-law is narrow-minded. As soon as she heard that I had ignored her son, she immediately became unhappy. She first comforted her son, peeled an orange for him, and even meticulously removed every bit of the white pith before feeding it to him. After the child finished eating, he came out angrily looking for me. At 1001 hashtag, I was helping my mother cut meat and said to her, "Mom, I don't think it's good for me to keep living at home like this, with a 3-bedroom apartment, and since Tao Tao is growing up and needs his own room, I'm planning to move out." My sister-in-law stormed in angrily after hearing that I wanted to move out. He immediately forgot about his son's oranges. The house is only this big. She had long wanted her sister-in-law to move out, but her father-in-law disagreed. Since she brought it up herself, her sister-in-law came over with a smile and said, "I'll help too." I smiled, and while cutting the meat, I took a moment to glance at my sister-in-law and called out to her. My sister-in-law couldn't hold back her curiosity and eagerly asked, "What's wrong? Do you want to move out?" I nodded. My mother was stir-frying and said, "Tao Tao is still young. Renting a place costs money. It would be better to spend that on buying Tao Tao a few pieces of clothing." Before I could say anything, my sister-in-law couldn't wait to interject. "Mom, how old is Tao Tao already? How can we keep having his aunt buy him clothes? If Mimi doesn't want to live at home, just let her move out. Besides, rent is cheap now, only $500 or $600 a month. Mimi earns $6,000 or $7,000 a month. It's not like she can't survive. I earn $600-900 a month and have to hand over $5,000 for household expenses. It all gets given by my mom to my sister-in-law as a subsidy. My sister-in-law knows exactly what she's doing. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. She doesn't want me living at home, but she still wants my money. Since when does anything that good happen in this world? My sister-in-law has been wanting to kick me out for a long time. I know that if I bring it up and she hears about it, I won't even need to say much to my parents. She'll definitely convince them, morning, noon, and night. I couldn't help but laugh seeing my sister-in-law constantly following my mom around. At 1001 hashtag, at night, my nephew broke out in a rash. He kept complaining about the itch. My brother was sleeping like a log when my sister-in-law noticed her son wasn't feeling well. She frantically got the whole family mobilized and even called her own mother. My nephew's grandmother has a folk remedy: mix incense ash with water, then stand 3 chopsticks upright while chanting for a while, and give the water to the sick person to drink. I didn't believe in it before, but I still had some respect for supernatural theories. Now that I've been reborn, I'm actually a bit curious. Does it work? I know the safest approach right now should be to take him to the hospital. Not to drink this incense ash mixed with water here, but I can't speak up. If anything happens to my nephew, I'll be blamed for it for the rest of my life. I've learned to be smarter in this life, but I underestimated how shameless my sister-in-law and my brother could be. My father said in a low voice, "Get the child to the hospital now. My family is ordinary. My mother stays home to look after the children and has no pension. My father does have 2,000 yuan a month. My brother is lazy and gluttonous, can't handle physical labor, and works only sporadically. His accounts are settled quarterly or annually. On average, it's over 5,000 a month. Although it's not much, there is still money, but they are reluctant to spend money on going to the hospital. So they turned their attention to me. My brother grabbed my arm and said anxiously, "Mimi, give me your card. Tao Tao needs to see a doctor, and going to the hospital costs money. As his aunt, you should take care of your nephew." I really want to laugh. They take the 5,000 I send every month for themselves, and now that their son is sick, they have the nerve to ask me for money. I have no money in my card, just a few hundred. I turn to look at my mom. "Tao Tao is sick, Mom. I send you money every month. You shouldn't have spent all of it, right? Hurry up and take it out. Let's take Tao Tao to the hospital." My mom isn't so bad that she treats me like an enemy. It's just a bit biased towards sons over daughters, which is, of course, quite detestable. Otherwise, when it came to arranging a ghost marriage back then, if they hadn't agreed, how would my brother have dared to make the decision? We don't have any saying here that a woman who doesn't marry can't have a grave. My mother looked awkwardly at my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law screamed sharply, "What's wrong with you? As an aunt, contributing some money, you know how hard it is to get money from your brother. Your nephew is in this state, and you're still calculating money." I was speechless, even felt like sneering. "Sister-in-law, I earn 6,900 a month. Give 5,000 to Mom, pay the utility bills, and take Tao Tao shopping for clothes at least once a month. Which piece of clothing I bought for him costs less than 500. I'm almost broke every month. What money do I have left to pay for medical expenses?" I gave the money to Mom, and I asked her to take out a few thousand for medical fees. "What's the problem with that? Isn't it still me paying for Tao Tao?" My sister-in-law wanted to argue with me but didn't know what to say. "I can't just tell me in front of the whole family that Mom gave all the money you handed over to me." His face turned pale and then purple, seeing his grandson scratching incessantly until his skin was broken. My father got so angry that he kicked my brother and yelled, "Still talking about money, money, money. Hurry up and take Tao Tao to the hospital." With my dad's reminder, my brother and sister-in-law hurriedly stopped a car and took my nephew to the hospital. At 1001 hashtag, it's been checked out, mild allergy. They say birds of a feather flock together. My brother and sister-in-law are a perfect match made in heaven. When their child broke out in a rash, they panicked and rushed to the doctor. At the time, I told them to listen. Since it's just a mild allergy, eating a few won't kill them. They just don't believe in superstitions. My nephew has recovered. Just train him to eat oranges. They said allergies occur due to lack of antibodies, and can be overcome by eating more. Can withstand it. My nephew's maternal grandmother said the same thing. They also found many folk remedies to treat the allergy. They feed my nephew a little orange every day. Everyone's antibodies are different. Some people might actually become desensitized, but for others, it could be a matter of life and death if they keep eating it. My sister-in-law was crying poor, asking me to buy some oranges for my nephew. I didn't dare. I've already found a place, and I'm planning to pack up and move out in the next couple of days. I opened WeChat, showed her the payment screen, and said, 3 months rent plus 1 month's deposit, but I don't have any money in my WeChat wallet. Afraid she wouldn't believe me, I opened Alipay as well, show her the balance, and it's 0. My sister-in-law stared at my phone for a while, then looked up at me, frowning. "What about Huabei?" I sneered inwardly. How shameless. Open it. 4,000 credit limit, not a single cent left. My mom used all the money to support my sister-in-law, the money I gave her. She couldn't spare a single penny, this time for renting. I have to borrow first and pay back later, but it's just as well. Next month when I get my salary, I'll have an excuse. Of course, I won't give any the month after that either. I'll have a reason by then. At 1001 hashtag, my sister-in-law went through all the apps where I could possibly hide money, confirmed there was none left, and felt disdainful inside. But she still smiled and said, "Mimi, it's not that I want to eat them, it's your nephew. A basket of oranges doesn't cost much, just 30 or 50 yuan. You know I'm at home taking care of Tao Tao with no income, your brother's salary is hard to get, mom has no money either, and dad's pension is only enough for our daily expenses. Don't you love Tao Tao the most? Just buy a few for him to try, don't eat what I bought, or you'll die from it, and then go crazy and stab me with a knife. I forced a bitter smile and said, sister-in-law, I really have no money left. I've shown you everything, how could I possibly be lying to you? I've borrowed from everyone I can, how do you expect me to buy it? I truly had no money. My sister-in-law was probably cursing me to death in her heart, but she didn't dare say it outright. She forced a bitter smile and said, forget it, it's just that Tao Tao doesn't have that fate, can't even afford a sister-in-law's orange. I just smiled and went back to my room to pack clothes in the wardrobe. I can probably move over the day after tomorrow, but this home is just too disgusting, can't stay any longer, planning to go tonight. I had my luggage packed and was ready to leave in a moment. I went to the living room to pour a glass of water, but my mom grabbed me, dragged me into the room without a word, and immediately hit my arm hard. It hurt so much I gasped. She also scolded me in a low voice, what's wrong with you? Do you have a problem buying some oranges for your nephew? Why are you becoming more and more unreasonable? I looked completely baffled, took a step back, and stopped my mom from touching me again. What did you hear this time? Your sister-in-law asked you to buy some oranges for your nephew, and you kept making excuses. He's your nephew, not some stranger. Tao Tao is in the process of cutting. She forgot the term but still stubbornly scolded. Let him eat more so he won't have problems later, as his aunt. What's wrong with being a little more generous? So my sister-in-law complained to my mom over such a trivial matter. It seems she didn't even relay the exact words. You're exaggerating, aren't you? At 1001 hashtag, I pulled out all my financial apps to show my mom, especially the 4K debt on Huawei, pointing at my phone screen. I held it up for her to see, even if I were given a second chance at life. I still couldn't remain calm and composed. My sister-in-law did something disgusting, and naturally, I found it repulsive too. I couldn't contain the anger in my words. I've given all my money to you. When I moved out to rent a place, I had to use Huawei for everything. When I asked you for money, you said it was all spent, and I have no idea where it went. Fine, I'll handle it myself. I'm already this broke. I don't have a single cent to my name. How am I supposed to buy anything for Tao Tao? If you're not okay with that, just give me the money back. Don't talk about a basket of oranges. I'll buy you a whole roomful if you want. When it came to the 5,000 yuan, my mother fell silent. She still didn't dare tell her daughter that she had given all the money to her daughter-in-law. She had no choice but to give it. Xiaomei kept threatening to take her grandson back to her own family's home. That grandson was the very core of her existence. If she didn't see him for even a day, she couldn't sleep at night. Knowing that her daughter truly had no money left, she didn't say anything more. I'm also disappointed in my mom, I said with a cold face. I'll leave in a moment. By the way, I won't be paying next month. My mom immediately raised her voice. Why aren't you paying? Do you think you're all grown up? I raised you all these years, and now you want to be an ungrateful wretch. I rolled my eyes in exasperation, take a deep breath and say, I owe 4,000 in rent, and I have to pay it back with next month's salary. Didn't you also raise my brother to adulthood, help him get married and have children, even sell the family homestead in our hometown for him, and buy this apartment in full? Why doesn't he have to pay? And you're pouring everything into him, my mother said matter-of-factly. He is the son, he has already carried on the family line, which is a great contribution. I was so angry my breasts hurt. Even though I knew the answer, I still couldn't resist asking, when you get old, if my brother can't provide money and won't take care of you, what will you do? Without even thinking, my mother blurted out, there's still you. With that mindset, I'll eventually marry into someone else's family and have to take care of my mother-in-law. When would I have time to look after you? Which is more important, your mother-in-law or your own mother? This isn't what you said. In the future, if my brother doesn't take care of you and my sister-in-law doesn't either, I'll have to come serve you. But I have a mother-in-law too. Can I just abandon her like how my sister-in-law treats you? My mother was so angry she raised her hand to hit me, and I ran away. I didn't even eat dinner. At 1001 hashtag, eating too many sugar oranges can turn your face yellow. To help my nephew with desensitization, the family went through 10 pounds of them in one day. I haven't been home in 2 weeks and haven't heard about anything happening to my nephew. Is it really possible to desensitize successfully? But whether it succeeds or not is none of my business. Going home for the minor New Year, I was almost scared to death. I have no idea how many oranges they eat in a day, but their faces have turned sallow, giving off a terrifying vibe as if their livers are failing. I looked at my mom's fingernails. They were stained yellow. And the gaps between her nails were filled with orange juice. They really are sick. You could say my parents are old and ignorant, but my brother and his wife are only 5 years older than me. They're always on their phones, and I just can't understand how they can be so foolish. At 1001 hashtag New Year's Eve dinner, I need to help my daughter, otherwise, the nagging won't stop from the moment I enter until I leave. I don't want to just sit and play on my phone anyway. I'd be happy to do that in my rental place, but at home, forget it. My sister-in-law might come over to chat, and talking to her makes me want to stab her. I helped my mom pick vegetables, and she asked me to stir-fry them. Actually, I know how to cook, but I deliberately add too much salt and oil, making it as unpalatable as possible. My mom took one bite, then quickly stir-fried 2 more dishes and shooed me aside to chop vegetables, all while muttering under her breath. Spend a couple of days away from home and you can't even cook anymore. Do you really think you're some kind of young lady? I chuckled sarcastically. As soon as my mom heard my mocking tone, she immediately lost her temper. I guess my sister-in-law must have upset her. Since it's her nephew, she didn't dare vent directly at my sister-in-law and was also afraid of putting my brother in an awkward position. The moment I came back, she finally had someone to take it out on. She threw the spatula into the pan and pointed at my nose, yelling, "What, you think you're all grown up now, starting to forget your roots? I went through hell to give birth to you, and it would have been better if I'd just given birth to a piece of char siu. None of you ever give me a moment's peace." I laughed and deliberately raised my voice so that my brother and sister-in-law in the living room could hear. "Mom, did my brother upset you? Or is it that you don't have enough money?" I'm broke myself, but if you're too embarrassed to ask, I'll go talk to him. We grew up together, so it's easier for me to ask him for money. My sister-in-law can't stand anyone trying to take money out of her pocket. While playing with my son outside, her expression suddenly changed. She sprang up and headed to the kitchen. "What money, Mom? What has Joey done to upset you now? We've been doing our best at home, haven't we? We don't have any extra money, if you think we're spending too much. I'll take Tato and go back to my parents' house. My mom only has this one grandson, and she dotes on him endlessly." Halfway through the conversation, it had already turned into a semi-threat. My brother is afraid of his wife, so my mom doesn't have much say. For the sake of her grandson, she could only force a smile and say, "Don't listen to Mimi's nonsense. Mom never said you two were no good, and we don't want your money. As long as you and Xiaowei live well, that's all that matters." Only then did my sister-in-law's expression soften. "Not that I'm criticizing your mom, but we could even buy this house with a loan. You and Dad can live in the old home, while Joey and I stay here. What's the problem with that?" My mom's face darkened. What did that mean? We helped them buy a fully paid house, and now they're acting like we're in the way. Outside, the sound of my eldest grandson's laughter drifted in. I watched as my mom forced a smile. She really has the potential to be a ninja turtle. My mother treated me like that. Here, I'm being bullied by my daughter-in-law. Of course, I wouldn't speak up for her. If you ask me, she deserves it. You're under a lot of pressure with the loan, and our family can't come up with that much money either. We had no choice but to sell the rural homestead. Although we don't have much savings now, at least we're not in debt. That's already much better than our next-door neighbors. They're just a couple living there, but what about us? 6 or 7 people crammed into a little over 100 square meters. It's so crowded you can barely move. My sister-in-law was dissatisfied and complained to my mom, not hiding her feelings at all even with me present. My mom could only smile and say, "There are benefits to a couple living alone, and there are benefits to a whole family living together. When they come back they still have to cook, while you just need to take good care of Tato and don't even have to do housework. Mom, Mimi has already rented a place outside. Why don't you move in with her?" I could clearly see my mom's face turn green with anger. I wanted to laugh but didn't dare. My tiny room is impossible for 2 people to live in, let alone with my dad too. My sister-in-law is clearly trying to kick us all out now. Anyway, I'm not coming back. It all depends on my parents, whether they can keep this good daughter-in-law, who will carry on the Zhou family line, in check. She has her own room, and besides, Taotao needs looking after. You can't handle it all by yourself. Your dad and I are getting older, and we have a son. We can't possibly rent a place outside. People would laugh at us if they found out. My sister-in-law is afraid of my dad. As soon as he's mentioned, she becomes more obedient. Just now she was so serious, but now she says with a smile, "Mom is right. I was just joking earlier. I'll go check on Tato." My mom nodded. At 1001 hashtag, I stopped picking vegetables, crossed my arms, and asked, "Can we count on my sister-in-law in the future?" My mother's face was tense, her teeth grinding with anger, all for the sake of her grandson. "If we can't count on her, there's still your brother." I laughed. "Then just wait and see." After saying that, I stopped helping in the kitchen. I want to go to my room and stay there. As soon as I opened the door, it was a mess inside. There was no place to sleep on the bed. During the new year, there's no place to rest even if I come over in the evening. Given how much my sister-in-law dotes on her nephew, I didn't think they'd let him sleep alone until he was 12 or 13. I never expected them to take over my room so eagerly. I'll go to my parents' room. My dad is in the living room playing with his grandson. I lay in bed, locked the door, and scrolled through my phone alone inside. I knew my mom must be furious. She was preparing the New Year's Eve dinner all by herself, and I wasn't helping, nor was my sister-in-law. I used to feel sorry for her and wanted to help share the burden. Ever since my little nephew was born, her attitude toward me, well, it wasn't great before. But it's never been this irritating. She's giving my money to my brother. As soon as my mom sees her grandson, all her anger just melts away. At 1001 hashtag, after preparing the New Year's Eve dinner, the whole family gathered around the table to eat. My sister-in-law peeled 2 more sweet tangerines for my nephew, but he turned his head away, not wanting to eat them. His mother insisted he eat them. She coaxed and forced him, promising to buy him a remote-controlled car. The nephew finally ate the orange. After finishing, I saw him scratch his arm and then reach to scratch his back. His mother skillfully helped him scratch the itch. Clearly, it wasn't the first time. This family is really something else. They already got a diagnosis of orange allergy at the hospital, and they're still feeding it to them. Even though it's a minor new year, we should still symbolically give a small red envelope. In previous years, I gave my nephew 100 for the minor new year and 1,000 for the major new year. My salary hasn't been paid yet. I don't have any money. It was time for the red envelope. My sister-in-law signaled her son to come ask me for money. I beat him to it and went to ask my brother instead, sweetly saying, "Brother, I want a red envelope too. You haven't given me one in years." I hugged his arm and acted cute. After all, I am his sister, and it's not worth arguing during the new year. He had a little money in his pocket, and the atmosphere was just right. My brother couldn't resist and reluctantly took out 100 yuan for me. My sister-in-law was so angry her face turned green. She can take my money, but I can't touch a single cent of her money, including my brother's. My nephew asked for a red envelope, so I immediately gave him the money my brother had given me. My sister-in-law couldn't hold back. "Mimi, your brother gave you 100, and you just gave Tao 100. I know what my sister-in-law wants to say. I should add another 100, no matter what. I can't let her suffer a loss. But the problem is, I don't have any money right now. Even if I did, I wouldn't give it to them. The whole family is a bunch of ungrateful people. I don't want to dirty my money, sister-in-law. It's not even payday yet. You know I don't have any money. I still owe 4,000 on Huobi. My dear sister-in-law, do you have any money? How about lending me some so I can pay off my Huobi debt? As soon as money was mentioned, my sister-in-law's expression changed instantly. As if a ghost were chasing her, she quickly took the 100 yuan and didn't dare ask me for more. Afraid that I might ask to borrow money from her, I left right after finishing the meal. My dad did try to persuade me to stay, so I asked him, where would I sleep? My mom said, "The living room can accommodate 1 person. You can sleep there tonight." I ignored them and went back to my tiny apartment. At 1001 hashtag, I didn't go home for the spring festival, so naturally, I didn't give my nephew any New Year's money. My sister-in-law acted as if she had lost $1,000. That same night, she called me. She had my nephew wish me a happy new year and say some blessings, going around in circles. I knew she was trying to get money from me. As long as she didn't bring it up directly, I wouldn't go there either. After half an hour of talking, my sister-in-law got impatient, took the phone from my nephew, and spoke to me. "Hey, Mimi, sister-in-law, Tao misses you. When are you coming back? Why didn't you come home even during the new year? Your brother and I both miss you a lot." I couldn't help but laugh while lying in my rented apartment. Miss me? More like miss the money in my pocket. What difference does it make where I spend it? I have to go back to work in a few days, so I probably won't have time to come back. Let's talk when we have time, sis. I'm hanging up now. Had I known, I wouldn't have gone back even for the minor new year, away from the protective shelter of home. There's no rain outside, just loneliness and mockery. It's still better than going back and having everyone come after me one by one. Wait, my sister-in-law seemed to realize her tone was too harsh. She softened it and said to me with a smile, "Mimi, it's New Year's today. You have to give Tao a New Year's money to ward off evil spirits. Mom, Dad, and your brother have all given theirs, sister-in-law. It's not even next month yet. I don't even have money for Little New Year. How could I have any for Spring Festival? Do you think food and living expenses outside are free? You say you have no money, but I don't believe you. I bought a case of instant noodles and have been eating them every day." Want me to video call you to prove it? She actually did video call me, but I really had bought instant noodles during those few seconds before answering. I quickly grabbed a packet, crushed it, and opened the bag before starting the video call, turned the camera around, turned, one bed, one wardrobe, one desk, simple and nothing else. My sister-in-law curled her lips in disdain. Knowing she wouldn't get any money tonight and planning to wait until I get my salary, I hung up. And the takeout I ordered has arrived, at 1001 hashtag, the whole family is waiting for my salary. On the 15th, my mom was the first to call and ask me to pay up. Didn't I tell you last month, I have to pay off my debts, so I'm not giving any money this month. I owe 4,000, and still have 2,900 left, I sneered. Are you trying to starve me to death? My mom paused for a moment on the other end, then spoke as if she were being generous. Keep 400 for yourself and just give me 2,500. Impossible, not this month. I'm hanging up. If my mom calls me again, I'll block her. Following my brother's lead, he wasn't that direct, constantly talking about filial piety and saying how hard our parents worked to raise me. I asked him if he had ever given our parents a single penny over all these years, which immediately made him furious. After hanging up, I blocked him too. Then came my sister-in-law. Not only was she eyeing my 5,000 yuan, but she also remembered the 1,000 I didn't give to my little nephew during the new year. All in all, she thinks I owe her 6,000 yuan, I answered, and my sister-in-law didn't beat around the bush. She just came right out and said, Mimi, you got paid today, right? You still haven't given Tao Tao his New Year's money yet. Sorry, sis, I used the money to pay off Huabei. I just moved into a new place and had to buy some things. I only have about 400 left, and I still need to eat this month. To guard against them, I deliberately played an audio clip. A woman's voice called out, Mimi, we're going to be late. Hurry up and clock in. I quickly said to my sister-in-law, Sis, I'm going to be late for work. If I don't clock in, I'll lose my perfect attendance bonus. I have to hang up now. After saying that, I blocked her. No other reason. I just wanted to annoy my sister-in-law by taking this call. The atmosphere at home is extremely gloomy right now. Ever since my sister-in-law had the baby, she hasn't been the same as before. She goes to the beauty salon every month, and she's using all my money on facials. Even if there's any left, it's only a few hundred. She knows the money will come in every month, so she doesn't worry about it. Every time she goes to the salon, she chooses the most expensive treatments. She's a big client there. Without my 5,000, she can't do it. When she's unhappy, the whole family has to suffer. At 1001 hashtag, I blocked their numbers, so they couldn't contact me or find out where I rented. They tried every way to inquire and came to my workplace, not knowing which floor I was on. They stood outside with a loudspeaker and shouted. Someone filmed it and posted it in the group chat. Although this building doesn't belong to the same company, some employees have switched jobs between companies. We have contact information for former colleagues. And everyone enjoys gossip. My colleague saw it in the group chat and nudged me. Zhomei, are they calling for you? I was stunned for a moment, picked up my phone, and opened the group chat. Two familiar figures appeared on the screen, shouting through a loudspeaker, Zhomei, come out, you unfilial daughter, blocking your parents on WeChat, neglecting your parents, ingrate, ungrateful. The supervisor also came over at that moment and asked, is that you? Not sure if there are other Zhomei in this building, so I used a questioning tone. If it is, then go down and resolve it. If not, then it has nothing to do with them. Turning off the phone screen, I said, it's my mom. Colleagues around all turned to look over. The supervisor frowned and said, I don't care about your family matters, but I hope it doesn't affect the company's image. Sorry, I'll fix it. You have half an hour, thank you. At 1001 hashtag, I went downstairs. And the security guard had already stopped my brother from shouting through the loudspeaker. The moment I appeared, my mom came over with a stern face. You think you're all grown up now, so you blocked the whole family. Why didn't you send money again this month? I've been moving these past 2 months. Everything costs money, plus transportation expenses. Where would I have any extra to give you if I didn't block you? You'd be asking me for money every day. Should I go steal it? My brother chimed in, you used to be able to give before, so why can't you now? The rent was paid for 3 months. It's not like you have to pay it every month. How come you have no money? I glanced at him. Brother, you make it sound so easy. Do you think living alone doesn't cost anything? Mom came to ask for money. What are you here for? My brother choked up, probably feeling guilty, but he quickly straightened his back. I came to get money for Mom. I sneered. Oh really? Whose pocket does the money end up in? No one told me, but I already knew. Both my brother and my mother fell silent for a moment. My brother is afraid of his wife, but he acts like a chauvinist in front of me and my mom. I had hit a sore spot, and he raised his voice to hide his guilt. What nonsense are you talking? Our parents raised you all these years. What's wrong with giving them some filial support? How dare you argue back? Why can't I argue? Where's my money? We agreed I'd hand over 5,000, Mom would save 2,000 for me, and the remaining 3,000 would be for you and Dad. Last time I asked Mom for the money, why couldn't she produce it? Joe Wei, don't act all innocent after taking advantage. My brother is just as disgusting as my sister-in-law. My mom knew that I knew, and she told my brother to turn off the speaker, then sighed, Mimi, Mom knows you've been wronged. But Tao Tao is the lifeblood of our family. Your sister-in-law has no money while taking care of him at home, so I have to help out a little. Is that just a little? Mom, I never said anything before, but this time I'm moving. Don't you know how much everything costs? And I still have to pay my credit bills. How much do you think I have left? Bringing my brother to my company to make a scene. Even my supervisor knows about it. If it escalates, the boss will fire me. In this job market, everyone's making 3,000 a month. I worked for years to get this salary. If I get fired, you won't get a single cent from me in the future. My brother only thought about egging my mom on to ask me for money and didn't consider how serious the problem could be. If I got fired, they would really lose their source of income. I exchanged a look with my mom. My mom was feeling guilty too. Just then, my brother's phone rang. He answered it. It was my sister-in-law. They talked for a while, and I could roughly hear what they were saying. The gist was that if they couldn't get the money today, she would take my nephew back to her parents' house tonight and end the marriage. Suddenly, I remembered something. They are all the type to shift blame. If I don't give the money and it leads to my brother and sister-in-law getting divorced, this big blame will still fall on me. It seems I have to quit this job, but I curved my lips slightly, then quickly pressed them straight again. My brother panicked as soon as he heard my sister-in-law wanted to go back to her parents' home. When my mom heard that my sister-in-law was planning to take my nephew away, she panicked. Mimi, how much do you have left now? Transfer it to Mom. If not, you can come home for lunch every day. That would save quite a bit too. My brother chimed in. What does an unmarried girl like you need money for? Nothing is more important than Tao. As his aunt, you should care about your nephew. They're demanding money so shamelessly. I won't agree. No money, Mimi. If you can't manage, why don't you cash out? You finished paying off Huabei last month, right? Transfer the 4,000 from Huabei to me, and you can just pay it back next month. Also, how much credit do you have on Douyin monthly payment? Seriously, bro, you're a grown man and you have no money. Why are you asking me for money? The money I had before was for Mom and Dad. What does that have to do with you? Huabei, Jibei, monthly payment. What? Are you going to help me pay it back next month? My brother fell silent. What could he say? Even if you threatened to twist his head off, he wouldn't help me repay the money. My mother was genuinely afraid that my sister-in-law would take my nephew away. She immediately lay down on the ground, insisting that I give her the money. She didn't care at all whether my boss would confront me about it. She just wanted to solve the immediate problem. Half an hour later, I still hadn't gone upstairs. Someone secretly recorded a video again and shared it in the group chat. Our leader was very angry after seeing it. The supervisor also called me, told me to go back immediately and give her an explanation. I ignored them and went back to the company. My brother wanted to follow me to ask for money, but there's an access control system on the first floor. There are also security guards, so he couldn't even get near the elevator. Of course, even if he got in, he wouldn't know which floor I was on. At 1001 hashtag. I explained the situation to my supervisor. She was also speechless, but couldn't say anything. My brother brought my mom to cause a scene day after day, and even tried to block me. I ran away. Probably my sister-in-law had reached her limit, so my brother told my mom to sit on the ground and cry when there were many people getting off work, not to mention in real life. It even blew up online. The company, afraid of damaging its image, immediately terminated my employment contract. Even though they knew I was also a victim, no one wants to turn down money. That's how I got the N+1. My salary only increased to 6,900 in the second half of last year. Although the company had to let me go under pressure, the leaders were quite good and agreed to keep it confidential, not mentioning that I received the N+1 at 1001 hashtag. After being laid off, I immediately went home fuming with anger. The situation at home was also in complete chaos. When my mom saw me come back, all she talked about was money. Even my little nephew, who doesn't even understand what money is, was shouting, "Auntie is bad, she won't give grandma money." The closest thing to me was the tea set on the table, so I smashed it directly. My nephew was so scared he started wailing, and my sister-in-law was about to scold me, but I yelled first, "Enough, you went to my company and made a scene. Are you trying to drive me to my death? Now the company has fired me. I have no money. Are you happy? The whole building knows me. I can't even find a job now. Are you satisfied?" My mom was dumbstruck. My dad frowned and asked, "What's going on?" It turned out my dad still didn't know what was happening. I looked absolutely furious, went to the kitchen to grab a knife, and scared everyone at home so badly that they avoided me like the plague. My brother, being the coward he is, immediately dragged my sister-in-law and nephew into their room, leaving my parents to deal with the situation outside. My mom's legs were trembling as she nervously stared at the knife in my hand and said, "Mimi, a knife isn't something to play with, put it down right now." My eyes were bloodshot. "Why did you have to cause trouble at my company? Do you know how many years I struggled to reach this salary? I told you before, it would affect me. Why did you still have to cause trouble? Now I'm fired. Are you happy?" My dad came over. He probably knew I wouldn't actually use the knife, so he took it from my hand and asked my mom in a deep voice, "Did you get Mimi fired from her job?" My mom was also afraid of my dad. She hadn't expected it to be this serious. Xiaomei needed money, and she had none, so she could only ask her daughter for it. My son also said it wouldn't affect Mimi. My mother lacks basic judgment. When it comes to her son and grandson, their words are like imperial decrees. At home, there are living expenses, and the money isn't enough, so we can only ask our daughter for it. Go online and see, because of your actions. The internet is full of people condemning me. Mom, for the sake of your son, are you really going to drive me to my death? If I'm gone, and in the future my brother and sister-in-law don't take care of you, I wonder who you'll be able to rely on. The online buzz isn't high, only people in the same city can come across it. It'll probably be gone in a couple of days, but that was enough to scare my mom. My dad was angry too, but he could somewhat understand me. Last month's rent was overdue, and this month I have no money for household expenses. He gave my mom a good scolding. My mom also knows she was wrong. He went to knock on my brother's door, wanting him to apologize to me. My brother, afraid I was still holding the knife, quickly backed down from behind the door. All right, I was wrong about this, okay." We could clearly hear a slap from behind the door, probably my sister-in-law hitting my brother. The two of them were murmuring something inside. And suddenly my brother raised his voice, "You work for a legitimate company. If they fire you, they should give you compensation. After working there for 3 or 4 years, you should get at least 100,000 yuan. The tone was so certain. I know, once I say I have it, they will try every means to take the money from me. I went crazy outside. How dare you say that? Zhou Wei, if it weren't for you taking mom to the company to cause a scene, with a normal dismissal, I would definitely have gotten N+1. Now the company says I seriously damaged the company's image. I even have to pay the company a penalty for breach of contract. I don't care. Mom, over the past few years, I've saved about 70,000 yuan with you, right?" My mom stopped talking. My brother and sister-in-law also fell silent inside. My dad also became quiet. "Why aren't you speaking?" My mom felt awkward and wanted to change the subject. "Mimi, are you hungry? If you lost your job, it's okay, you can just find another one tomorrow. 70,000 yuan, I've cleaned up your room, you should move back home. I'm asking about the money. Didn't you say you were saving it for me? Where is the money?" My mom instinctively looked at my dad. My dad's face was ashen. No one outside was speaking anymore. My brother's door opened, and the way he came out, it seemed like my sister-in-law had pushed him out. One moment he was trembling, and the next, seeing I didn't have a knife in my hand, he immediately straightened his back and came over to lecture me. "Money? What money? All you think about every day is money. Do you even have any respect for our parents? Zhou Wei, what do you mean by this? You got me fired, and now I need money. Are you planning to stand by and do nothing while I'm in trouble? Where would we get the money?" My brother scratched his head irritably, then shifted the blame onto me. "If you ask me, it's because you're too incompetent. Others know how to flatter and get ahead, but look at you, you get fired over the slightest issue." I thought I already despised my brother enough, but I never expected he could sink even lower. Now, just hearing his voice makes me want to kill him. "Mom, I've given you the money. If you've saved it, give me the passbook, in case the company sues. I need to transfer the money over. I've been constantly asking them for money, and my mom had no choice but to tell the truth. I've given all the money to your sister-in-law. I didn't keep a single cent, and it's really all spent. Mimi, you should just find another job." To make the act convincing, I had to go all the way. I was so angry that I burst into tears, crying uncontrollably. My dad tried to comfort me. My mom stood there awkwardly, and my brother didn't dare say a word. Then my sister-in-law came out, carrying her luggage. "You're all one family, and I'm the outsider. I'm taking Tao Tao with me. You all can live happily ever after." My sister-in-law spoke with such venom that anyone who didn't know better would have thought we were her father's murderers. My mom couldn't bear to see her eldest grandson leave, and neither could my dad. Seeing the situation getting really awkward, my dad spoke up. "All right, I still have tens of thousands saved up. You can use that first. As soon as she heard there was money, my sister-in-law quieted down. I threw out a sentence, from now on, don't expect a single penny from me, and left. At 1001 hashtag, when the lease was up, I went to Beijing, out of sight, out of mind. My brother and sister-in-law are both big spenders. My dad gave them his life savings, and they spent without any restraint, blowing through 50,000 yuan in just 3 months. My dad argued with them, and my sister-in-law took the child and went back to her parents' home. My nephew is allergic to oranges. Even with the family in such turmoil, my sister-in-law still hasn't given up. We must correct the source of her son's allergies. Previously, he was given 2 a day. When we arrived at his aunt's maternal home, his grandmother had him gradually increase the number from 4, 5, 6, up to 10 a day. After eating them continuously for a week, my nephew eventually had an incident, shock. Rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. Due to the large quantity and the consumption of various dubious folk remedies, his health continued to deteriorate. It was only discovered in the early hours of the morning, and even a miracle doctor like Hua Tua couldn't have saved him. Unfortunately, my nephew ended up following the same path as in his previous life. My mother is heartbroken over her eldest grandson. Now the eldest grandson is gone, and it's because of the oranges. We found out that the amount my nephew ate at his grandmother's house was more than 3 times what he had at home. They immediately resented the in-laws, especially my sister-in-law. The old couple was already unhappy about her spending 50,000 in just a few months, and now their grandson is gone. My sister-in-law was grabbed by the hair and beaten by my mother. My sister-in-law was also stunned. A living son died from eating an orange. How is that possible? The sister-in-law went crazy, accusing her mother of poisoning her son and causing his death, while the nephew's grandmother lived as if she had lost her soul. The whole family was thrown into chaos. My sister-in-law couldn't accept it. My brother couldn't accept it either. My mother almost passed out. The whole family couldn't accept it. No one informed me, and I didn't know what had happened at home. My sister-in-law went crazy. She stabbed my brother with a knife, and didn't even spare her own mother. My mother was stabbed in the arm, lost her grandson, and even though it wasn't a fatal injury, she fell seriously ill and couldn't get up. In the end, my sister-in-law was diagnosed with a mental illness. She was locked up in a mental hospital. My brother was stabbed by him, and it's highly likely he won't be able to have children in the future. The two got divorced. My mother's world has collapsed. A perfectly good family was torn apart because of the loss of my nephew. My dad sighs all day long, and his hair turned completely white in just 2 months. Not a single one of them remembered me or reached out to me. Even if they did try to contact me, they'd probably realize I've already blocked them long ago. No one in the family can accept my nephew's departure, especially my mom. She can't bear to hear even a word about oranges now and wishes she could beat my sister-in-law to death. She's tried to break into the mental hospital several times, but she's been stopped every time. If you ask me, my mom is just biased. Is this all my sister-in-law's fault? Isn't my brother to blame too? So her son just gets to slip away without any responsibility. But honestly, I can't be bothered. I'm living freely on my own now. Whatever mess happens at home, they brought it upon themselves, expecting me to support you in your old age, then spit out all my money. Don't turn around and suck your daughter's blood to support your son. Pa. The end. That's all for the first story. Don't go away. The next story is even more exciting. I was live streaming treasure authentication and connected with a missing actress. She was trapped in a deep pit, crying and begging me to save her. Through the antiques in the cave, I discovered that this is an ancient grand tomb. I located the burial site based on astrological positioning, but the real danger has only just begun. At 1001 hashtag, my name is Murongyu, a student majoring in archaeology at Jing University and also a well-known live streaming influencer. In my spare time, I do live-streamed antique appraisals online to earn some extra living expenses. That day, as usual, I connected to the live stream, and the screen flickered before a disheveled woman appeared. Her hair was messy, her face covered in mud. She stared straight at the screen for a moment, then suddenly lunged forward excitedly. Murongyu, you're Murongyu, right? Murongyu, save me. The thing behind the wall is coming. You have to save me. She looked flustered and spoke incoherently, startling both me and the audience watching the screen. Dear friend, please calm down. Do you have something you want me to appraise? Bullet comments. What's wrong with this lady? It looks like she's in some kind of basement. The lighting is so dim. Yeah, she's acting crazy. Could she be some kind of mental patient? You know what? She actually looks a bit like the film Queen Zhou Qi. What kind of nonsense are you talking about upstairs? Sister Zhou is 100 times prettier than her. Are you a hater? The bullet screen comments started to argue. The crazy woman stared at the rapidly scrolling text on the screen, suddenly realized something, and nodded vigorously at the camera. Yes, I am Jochi Morongyu. Please think of a way to save me quickly. As soon as the words were spoken, everyone froze. Jochi is a top-tier dual award-winning actress in the entertainment industry. Under the age of 30, she combines both acting skills and beauty, making her a leading figure among the new generation of actresses. Even someone like me, who doesn't pay much attention to the entertainment industry, knows that Jochi just attended a new movie premiere last night and was trending on multiple hot searches. How could she appear so disheveled in my live stream? The audience instantly became enraged, with newcomers all accusing me of seeking attention and trying to ride on Jochi's popularity. Have you no shame when it comes to seeking attention? You found someone who looks a bit like Jochi and came up with such a crooked scheme? This is too outrageous. I've already contacted Jochi's studio. The streamer can just wait for her account to be banned. Don't talk nonsense. The streamer isn't that kind of person. She has real skills and wouldn't resort to cheap publicity stunts. Jochi is missing. The studio isn't releasing any statement, and instead of reporting to the police, she looks for a streamer. Where's the logic in that? Everyone started tagging Jochi's official account, and soon enough, Jochi's studio account stepped in personally, but what they said left everyone stunned. Jochi, can you see me? I'm your agent, Lisa. Where are you? Seeing the familiar name, Jochi burst into tears. I don't know, Lisa. I'm so scared. All the viewers in front of the screen fell silent, staring in astonishment at the long string of text sent from Jochi Studios' ID. First, calm down. After the celebration banquet last night, you left the hotel alone. What happened after that? Try to think carefully. At 1001 #celebration banquet, Jochi muttered to himself, his vacant eyes gaining focus. You wouldn't let me eat, so I secretly went to the night market to buy barbecue, and then, Lisa, I was kidnapped. A reigning movie queen was kidnapped. The crowd erupted in an uproar, and I also stared wide-eyed in astonishment. I've been kidnapped. You should call the police quickly. What's the use of contacting me? That's right. The police can locate you through GPS. Yes, Sister Jo. Are you locked in a secret room? Jochi Studio. I thought you turned off your phone because you were upset. That was my oversight. I'll contact the police right away. Jochi, you must stay calm and tell us where you are. Call the police. Jochi froze for a moment, his eyes losing focus again. Then he shook his head. I've already called the police. I think I've already called the police. It's useless. Morongyu. Joshim said you're a very powerful master. Please help me. Can you figure out where I am? I'm really scared. Jochi covered her face and began to sob quietly again. Her mental state had seemed off all along, and her speech was also unclear. She was likely drugged with triazolam, which can cause dizziness, impaired balance, and memory confusion. I'm a doctor. Jochi, is there any water nearby? If you splash some water on your face, you'll feel much better. Water. I want to drink water. Jochi held her phone, turning her body as she searched for a water source, and the camera shook along with her. With that turn, I realized she wasn't in a basement at all. The surroundings were full of uneven, pitted earthen walls. It seemed she was in a deep pit. Sis Jo, is this a man-made cellar? Did the kidnappers throw you into a cellar? That's right. Sis Jo, where exactly are you? Since your phone can live stream, it must be possible to track your location. Why do you say calling the police is useless? Contact the police right away. There was a shallow puddle by Jochi's feet. Without minding the dirt, she scooped up a handful of water and splashed it on her face, then leaned against the wall to catch her breath. I just remembered. I called the police earlier. They said this phone has an anti-tracking device installed, and the number is from overseas. It would take until at least tomorrow to locate me. I can't wait until tomorrow. There's something here. At 1001 as soon as Jochi finished speaking, a strange, low, and hoarse animal roar suddenly came through the receiver, sending chills down one's spine. The viewers in front of the screen instantly felt their scalps tingle. Damn, what is that thing? Is it a tiger? It doesn't look like one. A lion, a hyena. Hey, the person above, do you think this is the African savannah? Where would lions and hyenas come from? This might be a dog raised by the kidnappers. Guarding Sister Jo from above, Jochi tightly covered her mouth, her entire body shrinking backward and pressing against the wall, tears involuntarily rolling down. After a while, the sound gradually faded away, and Jochi shook her head, crying, the sound isn't coming from above, it's inside the wall. I know it's in the wall. It's getting closer and closer to me. Jo, don't be nervous. Maybe it's some animal raised by the kidnappers. There's no need to be afraid. Since they kidnapped you, they definitely won't let any beast harm you. That's right, Jo, don't be afraid. Calm down first. The police will arrive tomorrow. The barrage of comments was filled with people trying to comfort Jochi, but she looked utterly hopeless. It's not kidnappers, they were camping in the wilderness. I ran away, ran for a long time, I passed out, and when I woke up, I was here. It's not kidnappers. Zhou Qi's words were incoherent, but the audience quickly understood. What do you mean, Sister Zhou? You escaped from kidnappers and then fell into a pit. Is this phone the kidnappers? Did you snatch it from them? How could there be such a deep pit? Is this an animal's burrow? Sister Zhou, can you climb up by yourself? Zhou Qi covered her ankle and shook her head, then pointed the camera upward to show us a deep hole with a diameter of about 60 to 70 centimeters. The opening is narrow and deep, at least 3 to 4 meters in distance. There are no footholds on the walls, making it impossible to climb up. At 1001 hashtag, so the kidnappers outside are likely to find Sister Zhou, and the wild animals nearby might dig through the wall and harm her. Oh my god. That's terrifying. If we can't wait for the police, why not call out to the kidnappers? Shout loudly for help and let them pull you up. It's better than being eaten by some unknown animal nearby. Are you crazy? Why would you fall back into the hands of the kidnappers after finally escaping? Yeah, and how do you know that shouting for help won't anger the nearby wild animals? Didn't you see that Sister Zhou didn't even dare to speak just now? What kind of terrible idea is that, you idiot? The comments started arguing again. Zhou Qi fearfully tightened her shirt collar, shaking her head vigorously while looking at me with a face full of hope. I can't be taken away by them again. Morongyu, you're the only one who can help me now. Please figure out where I am. I'm begging you. Once I get out, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Zhou Qi's fans also begged me. Morongyu, I shouldn't have accused you of hyping earlier. I'm sorry. I've been a fan of Sister Zhou for 10 years. I beg you to save her. Morongyu, please help Sister Zhou. I will never doubt you again. I also feel sorry for Sister Zhou, but do you really believe that a streamer can calculate the location of that pit? Even the police said they can only locate it tomorrow. You're being too fanciful. This is Sister Zhou's last hope. Don't meddle here. Get lost. The barrage was in chaos, and I shook my head with a bitter smile. Zhou Qi, I'm just a treasure appraisal blogger. I don't do fortune-telling. Even if there were a fortune-telling master, they couldn't possibly pinpoint your exact location. At best, they could only give a general direction. See, I told you Morongyu couldn't help either, and you all scolded me. Yeah, fans, don't get too worked up. At a time like this, we can only rely on the police. Zhou Qi leaned against the wall, his face full of despair. I can't wait until tomorrow. I can't stay here overnight. I'll die here. As if in response to her words, the hoarse animal roar sounded again, and it was clearly closer than the last time. At 1001 hashtag, the audience grew anxious. That sound is terrifying. It scared the piss out of me. Yeah, we're 3 or 4 meters underground. What kind of animal is next to us? Could it be a pangolin? Are there any animal experts here? Can we use this special animal to figure out Sister Zhou's location? Subterranean animals. A terrifying thought suddenly flashed through my mind, the more I carefully observed the environment behind Zhou Qi. The worse my expression became. Those pitted earthen walls were all marked with the traces of military shovels. This was a man-made tomb-raiding tunnel. Zhou Qi, listen to me. First look around for any copper coins, broken porcelain pieces, or similar items. If you find any, I might have a way to save you. Really? Zhou Qi's eyes lit up, and he immediately sat up straight, frantically feeling around on the ground and walls. What is the streamer talking about? How could there be copper coins at the bottom of this pit? Yeah, I can't even understand what she's doing either. Hey, damn, Sister Zhou, on your left, the wall on your left side, there's a small spot that's a different color from the surrounding dirt. Dig it out and take a look. Zhou Qi found the spot the viewer mentioned, dug at it forcefully, and sure enough, pried out a copper coin. There really is a copper coin. Morongyu, what is this? I get it now. Sister Zhou has fallen into a tomb-raiding tunnel. Yes, I was just wondering why there would be such a narrow hole in the wild. Look at the walls, they're all covered in shovel marks. This was dug by tomb raiders. I don't get it, even if it's a tomb-raiding tunnel. So what? How can the streamer locate it with just a single copper coin? Are you all dumb? You can determine the age and owner of the tomb from the burial goods inside, and then you can find the location of this tomb. Have you ever read Ghost Blows Out the Light, Seek the Dragon, Divide the Gold, Observe the Winding Mountains? Each mountain range is a barrier. Ancient grand tombs were all chosen based on feng shui. Nowadays, skilled masters can also locate grand tombs by reading the feng shui. This isn't from a novel, it's real. Damn, holy shit, Sister Zhou is saved. At 1001 hashtag. Watching the rapidly scrolling comments on the bullet screen, a faint smile had just appeared at the corner of Zhou Qi's lips, but it immediately froze on her face. They say Sister Zhou is at the bottom of the tomb. That sounds even scarier. Yeah, why are there animal sounds in the cemetery? Could it be ghosts from the ancient tomb making those noises? I cleared my throat softly. Ahem, don't talk nonsense. Some animals hide in graveyards. Spirit cats, for example, love to dwell in ancient tombs. It's not a ghost, however. Spirit cats are only found in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River. Judging by the water seeping through the walls of this tomb raiding hole, it doesn't seem likely that Roar is more likely to be the legendary tomb-guarding beast. Tomb-guarding beasts are extremely dangerous. If we don't find Zhou Qi before tonight, she probably won't live to see tomorrow's sun. Zhou Qi, clean that copper coin and let me have a look. Zhou Qi wiped the copper coin clean on the hem of his clothes, then handed it in front of the camera. The light at the bottom of the cave was dim, but with the screen's glow, I could still make out the 4 large characters on the coin. My heart instantly sank with despair. That was actually a Great Yuan Wuobao. The Great Yuan Wuobao was cast during the Zhida era of Yuan Wuzong, also known as Haitian, in the Yuan dynasty. It is suspected to be a trial casting sample coin for the opening of a mint, or it could be a commemorative coin minted to celebrate a special ceremony. Its existing quantity is extremely scarce. During the Yuan dynasty, paper currency was prevalent, and coins were already rare, let alone such limited edition copper coins. In the current antique market, the price for a single Great Yuan Wuobao coin is over 1 million. My face turned pale. This might be the tomb of Yuan dynasty nobility. Zhou Qi excitedly clutched that copper coin. Great, Morongyu, will you be able to find me soon? I lowered my eyes, unable to bear looking at her face. I'm sorry, Zhou Qi, it's basically impossible to find a tomb from the Yuan dynasty at 1001 hashtag. What do you mean? Didn't someone just mention something about dividing gold to locate the tomb? How come it can't be found now? Exactly, if the host doesn't have the skills, why brag? Giving people hope and then crushing it, is that how things should be done? Hey, don't just throw insults around. If you think you can do better, then go ahead, host, please give it another try. I'm begging you. Zhou Qi's lips trembled as he stared intently at the camera. Why can't you find it, Morongyu? As long as you save me, I'll pay any amount of money. I shook my head and sighed. This isn't about money at all. For so many years, numerous countries and teams have been searching for the tombs of the Yuan dynasty imperial family, not to mention the imperial tombs. Not even a single noble tomb has been found. This is all because the Mongols had a unique burial tradition. When a Mongol passed away, they didn't even use a coffin. Instead, they would split a large piece of nanma wood into 2 halves, hollowing out just enough space in the middle for a person to lie down. The body would be placed inside. The 2 halves of wood would be joined together, and then wrapped 3 times with gold to secure it. Finally, they would dig a deep pit, place the wood inside, and arrange some burial objects alongside it. After that, they would fill the pit, drive 10,000 horses over it to flatten the ground, and then set up camp nearby to guard the site for a year. Only when the land grew lush with wild grass again, blending seamlessly with the surroundings, would they withdraw the soldiers. Zhou Qi couldn't help but interject, but the tomb keepers also know the location of the tomb, so how could they not find it? I smiled helplessly. If only it were that simple. Take Genghis Khan for example. After the tomb guards withdrew, they would be ambushed and killed by a squad of cavalry. On their way back after completing the ambush, that squad would then be ambushed and killed by a second wave of cavalry. After the second wave completed their mission, they would in turn be ambushed by a third group. After doing this 3 times, no one could possibly know where he was buried. However, after Emperor Wuzong of Yuan, the nobles of successive generations were increasingly influenced by Han culture, and their burials were not as simple as before. They also constructed burial chambers, yet there remained a tradition. Nobles were granted burial in the grasslands. They did not believe in feng shui, and even their funerals did not allow any Han officials to attend. Across hundreds of miles of endless grassland, everywhere looks exactly the same. The methods of finding dragon veins, locating acupoints, and analyzing mountain and river energies are completely useless here. Few tombs from the Yuan dynasty have been discovered, which is also why Yuan dynasty artifacts are particularly precious. Take Yuan blue and white porcelain, for example. There are only over 300 pieces left in the world, and any one of them is worth at least 100 million. At 1001 hashtag, after I finished speaking, everyone fell silent. There really isn't much feng shui on the prairie. What should we do then? Are we just going to leave Sister Zhou like this? I don't think it's necessarily a noble's tomb. Could it be that a Han official collected the coins? Sister Zhou, can you look around some more? See if there's anything else that can help determine the identity of the tomb's owner. Exactly. It might not even be from the Yuan dynasty. It could be from the Ming or Qing periods, and someone might have collected them. Sister Zhou, keep searching. We can't give up hope. The audience tried their best to comfort Zhou Qi, but she just shook her head, her face ashen as she slumped to the ground. It's from the Yuan dynasty. And I was right there on the grassland. They set up tents And I thought it was in the middle of nowhere, but now that I think about it, it really was an endless grassland. I still remember the feeling of the water plants brushing against my calves as I ran away. I might even have some of those water plants on me. As Jochi spoke, she began to fumble over her body, and with that touch, she suddenly let out a sharp scream. She lifted her pant leg, revealing a long gash on her calf, with blood trickling down and mixing with the mud. The audience was visibly shocked. Oh my God, that wound is so deep. Sister Joe probably hasn't realized it yet because the effects of the sedative haven't worn off. Sister Joe, quickly tear a strip of cloth and tie it around the wound to stop the bleeding. This kind of wound could lead to tetanus. If you develop a high fever tonight, that would be really troublesome. The situation was becoming even more critical. Jochi was tearing at his pant leg while crying, Morongyu. Is there really no way at all? Please help me. Misfortune never comes alone. Just at this moment, his phone let out a beep, a low battery warning. Jochi's face instantly filled with panic. I'll die if I stay in this cave all night. Morongyu, I'll die. Some fans in the bullet comments were already crying. What should we do? Sister Joe is injured. Everyone think of a way together. We must rescue her tonight. That's right. Once it gets dark, this damn place will be pitch black. There's no phone signal, there's an ancient tomb nearby, and wild animals. Just thinking about it gives me a heart attack. Stop talking, my claustrophobia is already acting up. Can you all stop adding fuel to the fire and speak like normal people? The barrage of comments was scrolling rapidly, and everyone felt sympathy for Jochi, yet there was nothing they could do. At 1001 hashtag, I also sighed regretfully. And just at that moment, my grandpa's impatient voice suddenly came from outside. You crazy girl, once you sit in front of the computer you forget everything. An injured old man, have to wait on you. Didn't you hear such loud knocking? Grandpa walked over and opened the courtyard gate. Chiamoyu and Jiang Haoyan stood at the door holding a bag of fruit. Chiamoyu sniffed the air, her eyes lighting up. It smells so good. Is the lamb spine ready? Grandpa smiled. In half an hour, it'll be ready soon. You and Xiaoye go chat in the living room. Xiaoye. Sect leader Qiao is here. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and make some tea. Seeing my serious expression, Chiamoyu poked my arm. What? Don't want to treat me to a meal? Don't be so stingy. I'll have Jiang Haoyan treat you back later. No. I smiled bitterly and explained Jochi's situation. After just a few words, Chiamoyu was already glaring at me disapprovingly. Who says there's no feng shui on the grasslands? The so-called feng shui manifests in the heavens as images and takes form on earth as shapes. Mountains and rivers are formed by the convergence of celestial star patterns, corresponding between above and below. Your grandfather could even identify burial sites. Why did he only teach you this? Grandpa gave an ingratiating smile. Stargazing is something only you geomancers know. Who else understands it? Stargazing. But the Yuan dynasty royal family didn't believe in that stuff. Even if you can read the stars, it's useless. Chiamoyu snorted coldly. Who said they don't believe? Pa, the Mongols never did anything decent. Otherwise, why do you think our lineage of geomancers has declined to this extent? They were all killed by them. What? I stared wide-eyed in shock, but upon second thought, it made perfect sense. Genghis Khan, in order to conceal the location of his tomb, even slaughtered 3 waves of cavalry. If there were geomancers responsible for selecting the burial site, they would surely have met the same fate. If the tomb is situated on positions corresponding to greed, dominance, or military power, it will surely prosper. If it falls on positions of ruin, poverty, or corruption, it will inevitably bring disaster. You don't actually think they just dug a random hole in the grassland and buried him, do you, little Yaya? You're too naive. Chiamoyu patted my shoulder and headed toward the living room, but I grabbed her arm and dashed into the study instead. At 1001 hashtag, I pushed Chiamoyu into a chair. Jochi was about to speak when that hoarse animal roar suddenly echoed again. Completely absorbed in her phone screen, Jochi was startled and instinctively let out a sharp scream. Only after screaming did Jochi belatedly cover her mouth. But it was already too late. The wall began to tremble, as if whatever was on the other side had been provoked and was now violently ramming against it. Jochi frantically switched the camera, and the lens aimed at the wall. Only then did I notice that at the very bottom of the earthen wall opposite, there were a few scattered pieces of gravel. How could there be gravel inside the tomb raiding tunnel? Could it be that the tomb raiders had already blasted through the burial chamber and then backfilled the hole with rubble? This sound seems like the tomb guarding beast. Chiamoyu watched the scene with great interest as the sound gradually faded away. Jochi switched the camera back, looking at us with a face full of tension. What is a tomb guardian beast? Oh, that's a type of funerary object used to protect the soul of the deceased, similar to a tomb spirit. It's quite sinister and has a voracious appetite. Cough, 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 cough. I quickly signaled Chiamoyu with my eyes. Jochi was already very scared. Explaining the tomb guardian beast to her at this moment would only add to her distress. Zhou, wipe the dirt off the mud wall opposite and see if there's a hole blocked by rubble underneath. I told Zhou that Qiaomoyu might be able to help her. Zhou immediately gained strength. Holding her phone in one hand, she crawled over and used her sleeve to wipe the dirt off the wall. As the mud was wiped away, the light from the phone's camera shone on it, clearly revealing a hole blocked by a pile of rubble. The precision demolition technique is quite impressive, Qiaomoyu praised, then looked at Zhou with a serious expression. Xiaoye just told me about your situation. It's impossible to determine the location with just a single coin. First, move these broken stones aside and crawl into the tomb chamber, then find an antique or take photos of the wall murals for us. Once Xiaoye knows the general information about the tomb, I can help you locate the position. At 1001 hashtag, Zhou was completely dumbfounded. Her hand trembled as she reached out, pointing in disbelief at her own nose. Then at the opening of the rubble-filled cave, move it away, but the tomb guardian beast is right behind it. Bullet comments, yeah, what kind of idea is this? Once the opening is made, won't the beast just come straight over and eat Sister Zhou? It's already terrifying enough inside the tomb passage. And now we have to enter the ancient tomb. Who knows if there are other things inside? If it were me, I'd rather die right here. Yes, it's really terrifying. Is this new Master Qiao really reliable or not? Qiaomoyu let out a scornful laugh. What are you afraid of? The tomb guardian beast will keep patrolling the tomb chamber. Think about it. It appears at intervals of at least 20 minutes, right? This entrance is just a few large stones. You go into the tomb chamber first, take a photo, then come out and block the entrance again. There's plenty of time. Zhou shook his head vigorously. I'm not going. I absolutely won't go. What if I run into that tomb guardian beast? Oh, suit yourself then. The tomb guardian beast fears sunlight. Do you really think it's trapped by these few broken stones? When the hour of high arrives and the yang energy dissipates, just wait for it to come out on its own. By the way, do you know what the tomb guardian beast likes to eat? Pull out the human tongue by the root and eat until you reach the brain. Let's go, Morongyu. Let's eat lamb spine hot pot. Qiaomoyu stood up to leave, and Zhou burst into tears with a wah sound. I'll go. She placed her phone beside her, crying and trembling as she moved the stones. At 1001 hashtag, after moving a few large stones and clearing away the rubble, it took no more than 2 minutes for a dark, roughly 40-centimeter high opening to be exposed. Staring at the narrow, deep opening, Zhou took a deep breath, gripped her phone, and prepared to crawl inside when suddenly a gray shadow flashed by. The live chat exploded. Oh my god, I saw something float by. I saw it too. Sister Zhou, don't go in. I'm really about to be scared out of my wits. This kind of underground black hole is making me feel suffocated. Sister Zhou, quickly block the hole back up. Whatever you do, don't go in. It's a pity that Zhou didn't see anything. With the phone in hand, the viewer's perspective was already much lower than Zhou. Zhou patted her chest a few times, then crouched down, lay flat on the ground, and resolutely crawled into the stone cave, moving forward with her elbows. The barrage comments were all cursing me and Qiaomoyu for not reminding Zhou. Are you doing this on purpose, hoping to see Sister Zhou die inside? Qiaomoyu rolled her eyes and typed rapidly on the keyboard. You idiot. Zhou Jia will die before you do. What are you saying? What reminder? Are you trying to summon the tomb guardian beast? Where is your brain? Oh right, the tomb guardian beast seems to be quite sensitive to sound. The other viewers quickly realized this and swarmed to curse out those few people. The barrage of comments flew by quickly as Zhou crawled into the cave and turned on his phone's flashlight. The stone chamber was pitch black, and Zhou didn't dare to venture too far. He only used his phone to illuminate a small area in front of him, then typed with trembling fingers, "Is it ready? Can I come out now? Take another look. Shine the light a bit further ahead." Zhou took a few more steps and shone his phone's light, which dispelled a small patch of darkness, revealing a human figure in front of him. He was curled up, lying on the ground with his back to the camera, an eagle embroidered on his jacket. Mom, I'm dead. None of the horror movies I've watched this year were as terrifying as this scene. I was genuinely scared to death. I'm fucking having a heart attack. I can't take it anymore. Zhou eyes welled up with tears, one hand tightly covering his mouth to keep himself from crying out. Qiaomoyu calmly typed a comforting message. Don't worry, judging by his clothes, he was probably a tomb raider who died here. Where there are tomb guardian beasts, tomb raiders won't turn into zombies. A single corpse is nothing to be afraid of. There seems to be a piece of paper pressed against his back. Pull it out and take a look. At 1001 hashtag, I don't know if it's just my imagination, but I feel like this body is rising and falling, as if it's breathing. Yes. Looking at his back, I have the same feeling. Stop scaring people. Will you? Master Chiao already said the Tomb Raiders won't turn into zombies. Don't frighten Sister Zhou. Exactly. Do you think Sister Zhou isn't scared enough? What are you trying to do? The camera panned to the ground. What was pressed beneath this corpse wasn't a piece of paper, but a tattered booklet, with the two characters' secret visible at the very bottom. Zhou Qi tremblingly reached out her hand to push the corpse, but with that push, for some reason, she let out a piercing, miserable scream. Zhou Qi screamed as she scrambled and crawled toward the cave entrance. The low, hoarse roar of the tomb-raiding beast echoed in the distance, terrifying Zhou Qi out of her wits. She desperately squeezed her body out of the narrow opening. Everyone held their breath along with her. As soon as she emerged from the cave, she crouched down to move the stones back into place, then collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath while tears streamed down her face. What are you screaming for? You didn't even read the words clearly. Wasn't that a wasted effort? What kind of heartless comment is that? If you were in this situation, wouldn't you be scared? Sister Zhou was brave just to go in. Exactly. It's easy to talk when you're not in the situation. Keyboard warrior, how disgusting. Zhou Qi kept crying. That corpse, that body, it's warm. It has a human's body temperature. Holy shit. That's terrifying. Could it be a living person? Impossible. Sister Zhou, you've lost too much blood and have been in this pit for so long. You're hypothermic. The tomb chamber retains heat better than outside. It's all an illusion. Oh, right. You're the doctor from earlier, aren't you? You make a good point. As Zhou Qi gradually calmed down, someone posted a screenshot. I just managed to capture the characters from that incomplete book. Source secret. Host. Can you identify it based on these 3 characters? At 1001 hashtag, source secret? I was still stroking my chin in contemplation when Chiao Moyu excitedly slapped the table. The U in profound meaning. It's him. I suddenly understood. It's him, the right minister of the Secretariat during Emperor Yuanwu's reign. Bao Ba was a unique figure during the Yuan dynasty, as a Simu person. He was exceptionally skilled in the study of the I Ching and authored works such as The Profound Meaning of the I Ching's Origin, The Original Intent of the Zhou and Zhou divination practices. Among these, The Profound Meaning of the I Ching's Origin was his most cherished masterpiece. In the lower right corner of that incomplete copy, there was also a faint, bright red seal. Most collectors would not stamp their personal seal directly on the cover of a book, so it is highly likely that this book was one of his own burial objects. Chiao Moyu let out a long sigh of relief. If you had mentioned anyone else, locating the tomb might have been uncertain. But for Bao Ba, this is practically a sure thing. During the Yuan dynasty, Tibetan Buddhism was widely practiced, and the nobility often associated with eminent monks, while Taoism was suppressed. However, because Bao Ba was fond of the I Ching, he became close friends with Gui Yuanding, a top feng shui master of the time. Unfortunately, Bao Ba was stubborn and self-willed. Before long, he began to believe that his abilities surpassed Gui Yuanding's, and the two had a falling out. He quickly selected a burial site for his family. On the surface, the site appeared to be an auspicious location, promising prosperity for 3 generations, but in reality, the alignment of the stars indicated a dire fate for his descendants. Not long after he buried his father there, Emperor Wuzong of Yuan passed away, and Bao Ba was executed by imperial decree. Among the many nobles of the Yuan dynasty, there were numerous auspicious burial sites, making them hard to identify. However, a celestial configuration like his was truly one of a kind. Find the tomb of Bao Ba's father. His is nearby. After Chiao Moyu finished speaking, Zhou Qi's lips trembled with excitement. What do you mean, Master Chiao? Can you find me? Am I saved? Wu, Chiao Moyu and Murongyu, you deserve to be honored in the Imperial Ancestral Temple. Save Sister Zhou. Streamer, you are my eternal god. The screen lit up with a flood of hearts and flowers, and all the fans started frantically showering us with gifts, praising us to the skies. Chiao Moyu nodded calmly. Bao Ba's tomb is a cautionary tale among feng shui masters. I have a rough idea of its location, somewhere in the Bahang grassland northwest of Beijing. Xiaoyeye, contact the police, and we'll take a team there together. At 1001 hashtag, I came out of the study with Chiao Moyu, and she sniffed the air. It smells so good. We can set off right after dinner. Eat what? It takes at least an hour and a half to drive to Bahang grassland from here, and it's rush hour now. Traffic will be terrible. Let's pack up and leave right away. What? My lamb spine hot pot. My lamb spine. I dragged Chiao Moyu and ran outside, and on the way there, I contacted the local police. To my surprise, the police actually didn't come with us. Sorry, Ms. Moron. We received a tip and have now confirmed that Zhou Qi should be in the Daxing district in the southern part of the city. Currently, we need to concentrate our police force on searching for and rescuing Zhou Qi, so we don't have any extra personnel to accompany you for now. After hanging up the phone, I was completely baffled. Daxing District and Bahang Grassland are in the south and north respectively. How could Jochi be over there? Could it be that we've come to the wrong place? It can't be wrong. Where in Daxing District would there be a Yuan dynasty tomb? Their information must be mistaken. Yes, ancient coins from the Yuan dynasty, a fragment of the Yuan's profound teachings, and the grassland that Jochi himself mentioned. There isn't even any grassland in Daxing District. The police must have made a mistake. I had just breathed a sigh of relief, but then I thought of those kidnappers, and my heart tightened again. If there are no police, what should we do if we encounter kidnappers? Jomoyu waved her hand. Just a few petty thieves. They're not hard to deal with. Besides, there are ancient tombs all over that area. If I can't handle them, I can always release a few zombies. What's there to be afraid of? At 6 o'clock in the evening. The roads in Beijing were heavily congested. By the time we entered the Bahang Grassland area, it was completely dark. It's 8 o'clock now. There's still an hour until high hour, 9 to 11 p.m. We should make it in time. Chamoyu glanced at her phone. Then holding a compass, she looked up at the stars while using the compass to find the location. Fortunately, the weather was very good today, with clear skies and no clouds. And the visibility of the stars was also very high. The few of us carried our equipment, turned on our flashlights, and walked for about half an hour. Finally, Chamoyu walked to a slightly raised grassy slope and calculated with her fingers, "This is the spot." At 1001 hashtag, I took out my phone and re-entered the livestream. As soon as I connected, Jochi immediately leaned excitedly toward the camera. "Morongyu, where are you guys?" I pointed my phone toward the wilderness and took a quick look. "Don't worry, we've found the spot. Just shout. And we'll be able to find you." Oh my god, I'm so excited. The moment to witness a miracle has arrived. Yeah, Sister Jo is finally going to be saved, relying on treasure appraisal and astrology to rescue Sister Jo. "Streamer, you are my god." The barrage started spamming gifs again. Jochi opened her mouth to speak, but the next second, her eyes suddenly widened, her face turned deathly pale, and her expression became extremely bizarre. "Jochi, what's wrong with you?" Jochi didn't speak. Her hair was wet and clung to her face, her lips trembled, and she looked at the camera with a terrified expression. After a long moment, she took a deep breath, and when she spoke again, her voice was extremely hoarse. "The weather there is so nice, the stars are so bright." I looked up at the starry sky with confusion. "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" Jochi stared intently at the camera. His lips pressed into a tight line. "But it's raining here." The tunnel wasn't straight down but had a slight slope. Jochi aimed her phone at the entrance. Rain poured down, falling into the opening and then flowing along the slope like a small stream. "Holy crap, what's going on? Did the streamer get the wrong location? I'm in Daxing District. It started raining in Daxing 10 minutes ago, really heavily. Oh my god, so Sister Jo is in Daxing District too. It's not Bahang Grassland at all. That damn master, damn it. He even scammed so many donations from me." "Morongyu, you scammer, refund my money." At 1001 hashtag, the audience was furious, while I was completely bewildered. How could Jochi be in Daxing District? The next second, Jochi in front of the screen let out a scream. I looked towards the camera and saw the wall opposite her shaking violently, accompanied by several bang, bang sounds. A whole half a person's height was smashed through the wall in front of Jochi. A man wearing a hood crawled out through the hole. He snatched the Dayuan national treasure from Jochi's hands, then without saying a word, crawled back through the hole. The eagle embroidery on the back of his clothes flashed by in an instant. Was he the corpse from the ancient tomb just now? The audience in front of the barrage was stunned. "Wait, what on earth is going on? My brain is fried. I don't get it. Isn't he that tomb raider from earlier? How did he come back to life? I don't understand either, but there's one thing I do know. Morongyu is a big liar." The next second, my phone was snatched from my hand. I looked up and saw Chamoyu already standing beside me with her hands raised. A circle of people stood around us, holding guns with dark muzzles aimed at the two of us. The phone was thrown aside and smashed. The middle-aged man leading them, wearing a mask, smiled at Chamoyu. "Master Chao, truly worthy of being the head of the phone sect. A Yuan dynasty tomb, and you found it just like that. Amazing." Chamoyu suddenly understood. "Did you plan all of this, just to force me to find this tomb?" The middle-aged man laughed and gave Chamoyu a thumbs up. "I am old Jean. It's so much easier talking to smart people. What do you think? Is this the right time for us to go down?" At 1001 hashtag, old Jean was a notorious smuggler. 2 months ago, he bought half a tattered volume of The Profound Principles of Change from the black market. The young man who sold it said his grandfather had stolen it from a tomb. "You know about Yuan blue and white porcelain, right? That tomb had hundreds of pieces. Just take one out, and it's worth at least 200 million. It's a pity that tomb is full of traps, and there's a man-eating beast inside." Not long after my grandfather entered the tomb, 4 out of the 5 people who went down with him died. After he escaped, he lost his mind, occasionally, when he was lucid. He would mumble a few words, but no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't get him to reveal the tomb's location. Hundreds of blue and white porcelain pieces, that must be worth tens of billions. Old Jean was wildly tempted. He asked around and found out that the most capable person to locate this tomb was the geomancer, Chiamoyu. He originally intended to directly kidnap Chiamoyu to force her to find the tomb, but given the great skills of the geomancer, he was afraid that Chiamoyu might lead him into some random tomb and harm him. After much contemplation, he finally came up with this plan. First, they kidnapped Zhou Qi and took her to the grassland, then intentionally let her escape. While she was running away, they knocked her unconscious and threw her into a pit they had dug earlier. They made Zhou Qi mistakenly believe she had fallen into a tomb raiding hole, prompting her to seek help. The sound of the tomb guardian beast was also an audio recording he specially created, tested hundreds of times to ensure it sounded realistic. The tomb guardian beast crashing into the wall was actually done by the young man hiding in the adjacent stone chamber. When I and Chiamoyu set out to search for the tomb, he deliberately had someone leak information to attract the police's attention. Soon, Zhou Qi should be rescued by the police. While I and Chiamoyu became frauds, others would only think we ended the live stream ourselves after our lies were exposed, and wouldn't care whether we lived or died. After hearing his explanation, the three of us fell silent together. Chiamoyu sighed. With your intelligence, you could have easily gotten into a good university. Why did you choose smuggling? Old Jean laughed heartily. I have many graduate students from prestigious universities handling my antique documentation, and even PhDs helping me with forgeries. They all work for me, Master Chiao. Rest assured, I don't want your lives. Take us down into the tomb, and once we come out safely, I'll let you go. At 1001 hashtag, Chiamoyu had pinpointed the location accurately while we were talking. Old Jin's men had already found the tomb raiding hole. Master Chiao, would you like to go first? Chiamoyu attached the rope and descended into the tomb with a cold expression. I followed behind her, going down second. Chiamoyu cursed under her breath. I've lived this long and never suffered such a loss. Didn't even get to eat the lamb spine hot pot, and ended up working for free. I also felt extremely frustrated, but given how far the kidnappers had gone with their act, we couldn't really blame ourselves for falling for it. The rope descended about 4 meters before my feet met empty air. I looked down and saw that we had reached the burial chamber. The tomb had a domed ceiling, and the walls were covered with murals. I jumped to the ground and swept my flashlight around, only then noticing several skeletons lying there. They were dressed in old-fashioned cloth garments, matching the description of the tomb raiders old Jean had mentioned. However, these 4 bodies were badly mutilated, missing arms and legs, and it was unclear what kind of animal had attacked them. Old Jean followed me down and, upon seeing the corpses scattered all over the ground, cautiously moved closer to the center. Master Chiao, is this the work of that so-called tomb guardian beast you mentioned? I've also looked it up. Isn't the tomb guardian beast supposed to be a good thing? It wards off evil spirits, so why does it eat people? Chiamoyu rolled her eyes. The tomb guardian beast is there to guard against ghosts and evil spirits, protecting the deceased soul from disturbance. For the dead, it's certainly a good thing, but you tomb raiders go down there disturbing the peace of the deceased. Who else would it eat but you? Of course it would eat your tongue to keep you from disturbing the spirit's rest. Old Jean chuckled. Master Chiao knows so much. Later, this tomb raiding beast will be left for you to deal with. This tomb is built differently from others. In our circular tomb chamber, there are actually 8 passageways facing 8 different directions, each leading to a different burial chamber. Bao Bao was deeply fond of the Zhou, and this tomb was constructed in imitation of the Bagua diagram. Chiamoyu looked around and suddenly laughed. It's quite a coincidence that there are exactly 8 of us. Let's each choose a direction. At 1001 hashtag, old Jean clearly disagreed. Master Chiao, don't joke around. Please point us in the right direction, and we'll all go together. Chiamoyu shook her head. Even if we walk together, in the end we will part. Each of the 8 has their own fate. Only one person will leave this place alive. Old Jean insisted on going together, so Chiamoyu had no choice but to agree. She calculated with her fingers and chose a path. This is the gate of life. Let's go this way. Chiamoyu had me walk ahead. I had only taken a few steps when suddenly I felt the ground give way beneath my feet. The spot that had been solid bricks had somehow turned into a dark hole. I let out a scream as I fell into the hole, and from far away, I could still hear the voices of Chiamoyu and old Jean talking. See, I told you we'd have to split up. I felt myself rolling down a slope, tumbling all the way until I was dizzy and disoriented. When I finally came to a stop, I picked up the flashlight beside me, propped myself up, and tried to stand, only to realize I couldn't straighten up. The stone chamber was only about 1 meter high. A suffocating feeling immediately welled up in my heart. I'm not really a coward, but in such a low, enclosed space, I still felt extremely oppressed and uncomfortable. I would rather run out to an open area and fight with the tomb guardian beast. I strapped the flashlight to my forehead and could only crawl on my knees. After crawling for a while, I had roughly looked over the entire tomb chamber. There were a few earthen jars placed in the corners, but aside from that, there was nothing. Chiamoyu said this is the gate of life. Did she intentionally make me fall here to protect my safety? Feeling much more at ease, I simply squatted down by the corner to examine those earthen jars. As soon as I touched one, I sensed something was wrong. The jar was fixed to the ground and couldn't be lifted at all. As the jar rotated, I heard a rumbling sound coming from above. I looked up and was scared out of my wits. The stone ceiling above was descending, and it was coming down at a considerable speed. In no time, I couldn't even crouch upright anymore and had to lie flat on the ground. I had imagined thousands of ways I might die, but never one like this, being crushed into a pancake inside an ancient tomb, trapped in a stone chamber. My heart was racing, my vision blurred, and I desperately reached out to twist those jars. No matter how I turned them, it was useless. The ceiling above was getting lower and lower, my breathing became rapid, and a buzzing filled my ears, just as I was in despair. The stone wall ahead suddenly split open to the left and right, revealing a narrow opening just wide enough for one person to pass through. Now the stone wall had descended to about 40 centimeters, and I could only lie flat on the ground, inching forward with great difficulty using my elbows. Whatever was behind that opening, it was better than staying here and being crushed into a pulp. At 1001 hashtag. The ceiling was still slowly descending, and I even felt it was about to press down on my hair. I used all my strength, my elbows scraped and stung with pain, but I couldn't afford to care. My grandfather always said my physical fitness was poor, but if I were to participate in the barbed wire crawl during military training now, I would definitely take first place. A strong survival instinct drove me to crawl forward. Just as I finally squeezed into that narrow hole, with a boom, the stone wall behind me slammed shut against the ground. I lay on the ground, gasping for breath. Sweat from my forehead streaming down my cheeks. Taking a breath, I suddenly felt something was off. The ground beneath me wasn't as hard as I had imagined. I reached down to feel around. Rough fabric of clothing, a smooth, evenly beaded necklace, and further up, I touched an ear. Gulp. I swallowed hard, slightly propped myself up with my arms, lifted my head a little, and mustered the courage to look down. At first glance, my heart stopped. Beneath me lay the body of a man, his eyes closed, his flesh so decayed that the bones were visible, with a faint green glow emanating from them. Even after several hundred years, he had not completely turned into a skeleton, and there I was, lying face to face, sprawled on top of him, panic-stricken. I wanted to scramble off him immediately, but as I stretched out my arms, I realized that all around me were stone walls. It was then that I realized I was trapped inside a stone coffin. My heart and soul are utterly shattered. In this situation, I might as well have been crushed by that stone room earlier. I was so terrified that I burst into tears, sobbing uncontrollably, completely unable to stop. Wah, wah. At the same time, noisy voices could be heard from outside. Listen, someone is crying. Damn, a female zombie. Boss, what should we do? Old Jin's panicked voice came through. Damn it, Chamoyu said this stone chamber was safer. I knew she was trying to get me killed. You hold on for a bit. I'll go get Chamoyu over here. Boss, how am I supposed to hold on? I can't handle this. Boss, don't run away. I immediately grew anxious. If they all left, then there would be no one to let me out. Woo-woo. Old Jin, let me out. Old Jin, woo-woo. Boss, that female ghost knows your name. Boss, wait for me. The people outside were scared out of their wits and ran even faster. At 1001 hashtag, it became completely quiet outside. After a while, footsteps could be heard again. Damn, I'm exhausted. Finally managed to shake them all off. Once we find Murongyu, we can get out of here. Chamoyu, Jin Haoyan gasped for breath, leaning back against the stone coffin. That tomb guardian beast is way too hard to deal with. What on earth was that thing made from? It was created by pouring the bones and blood of 18 different ferocious beasts into a stone mold, then refining it through dark arts. That thing is just like a tomb spirit. It can't be killed. We need to take advantage of the fact that old Jean and the others have drawn the tomb guardian's attention and get out of here quickly. I still have one more question. Jian Haoyan's voice came through, full of grievance. Is the life gate the safest? Why did you let Murongyu go through the life gate first? Aren't you worried about me? The life gate only means there's a chance of survival everywhere. It has nothing to do with safety. Murongyu just happened to be next to me, so it was convenient, wasn't it? Speaking of which, the show door I just let you enter was much safer. What? Are single people's lives not lives? I angrily pounded on the stone coffin. Chamoyu, let me out. What's that sound? Chiamoyu pricked up her ears and listened for a moment, then walked over and pushed open the stone coffin. As soon as the lid opened, I immediately sat up straight, gasping for air. I was both gasping and crying. I heard everything. Why did you make me take the life gate? Chiamoyu reached up to pull me, speaking in a tone that suggested it was only natural. You're smart. You're from Peking University. That slim chance. Jiang Haoyan might not be able to grasp it. Jiang Haoyan. This explanation made much more sense, and I immediately felt much better. I grabbed Chiamoyu's arm, trying to climb out of the stone coffin, but my legs seemed to be stuck and I couldn't move at all. I looked down and saw that the male corpse had already opened its eyes, with one hand firmly gripping my thigh. Chiamoyu, it's reanimated. At 1001 hashtag, Chiamoyu acted swiftly, pulling a copper coin from her bag and quickly stuffing it into the zombie's mouth. Then, with a forceful swing of his arm, he flung the zombie out of the coffin. As soon as the zombie left the coffin, with a loud rumble, the hole that had appeared earlier opened up again. Morongyu, hurry and climb in. What? I just came out from there. Inside that place. That's the only way out of this tomb chamber. Hurry in. Jiang Haoyan, follow. I couldn't fight the zombies either, so I had no choice but to listen to Chiamoyu. I crawled back into the hole I had just climbed out of, and once inside, I realized that the stone wall on the ceiling of the chamber had risen back up, returning to its previous height of about half a person's stature. After fighting the zombies for a while, Chiamoyu jumped into the coffin and closed the lid, but as soon as she crawled out of the hole, a rumbling sound came from above, and the ceiling began to slowly descend once again. But unlike last time, the slope I had rolled down was still there and hadn't disappeared as it had before. We moved quickly, scrambling and tumbling our way up the slope until we reached the domed chamber of the tomb. When we had descended earlier, old Jean had left 2 accomplices above to keep watch. Chiamoyu climbed up the rope first, subdued both of them, and then leaned over the opening to call out to us, "All right, come on up." This Baba character is truly cunning. On the surface, he leaves you a glimmer of hope, but in reality, he sets traps for you at every turn. Just like that only exit. If Morongyu hadn't gone out from there in the first place, who would have thought the opening would be inside the coffin? Originally, where there are tomb guardian beasts, corpse transformation wouldn't occur, yet, he set up a formation in that tomb chamber to nurture the corpse, preventing the tomb guardian beasts from entering. If you want to escape, you have to defeat that green zombie first. Tisk. The 3 of us lay on the grass, gazing up at the starry sky. Lost in thought for a while, Chiamoyu let out a long sigh. As the saying goes, render unto God what is God's, and unto Caesar what is Caesar's. The belongings of the dead should remain with the dead, the living certainly cannot take them away. After saying this, he turned to look at the other 2 grave robbers. Did you hear that? We left the grassland and took those 2 grave robbers to the police station. This time, I went to great lengths, did a good deed without leaving my name, and still got called a scammer online. Chiamoyu consoled herself. We don't do things for the sake of reputation, we do them for the sake of cause and effect. Even so, I'm still a bit upset. Morongyu, I need to go to your place for a meal of lamb spine hot pot to soothe my wounded heart, before leaving the grassland, fearing that someone might fall in later. Chiamoyu specifically found a large rock to fill in the entrance of the tomb raiding hole. Soil was filled over the stones, and before long, dense wild grass grew, blending seamlessly with the surrounding environment. The wind blew, bending the grass low, and the prairie was enveloped in tranquility. 1 month later, bang, the stone shattered, and a pale hand reached out from beneath the ground. End of this story. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.